Hey, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome to Night School. This is your host, Latanya Washington, the founder of the International List Tour, which will be Tilt 2020 for leaders this coming September. I'm excited because tonight I have the chance to speak with Constance Moonzwe, and we're going to be dealing with the subject of inclusion and diversity. Basically, now how to end the corporate culture of white privilege. I'm excited that she's going to be here. She's already here. She's in the waiting room. And we're going to talk about this on today. So go get your pencil, go get your pad, whatever you need to do, because it is on. Well, is all I can say right now, because as you already know, I have Constance Moonzwe on here with me for night school this afternoon. And I'm sure many of you will have many questions because we're going to be dealing with contracts. And so first and foremost, let me introduce her to many of you all who may not know who she is, but good friend of mine. And she not only has run several other multi-million companies, but right now she runs and she is the director of RSMC Services, which is a recruiting and staffing firm. And you guys already know, and I shared it previously, she just won another contract that's $7 million for the state. I'm going to let her share the rest of it. I'm not going to say it all, but we're going to be talking about this on this afternoon because it is so necessary for many people, especially us of color, African American culture, to go after these contracts. They're sitting there waiting for us. And we're going to talk about this afternoon with Constance. First, good afternoon, Constance.
Hi, Latanya. Hey, girl. How are you?
I am feeling well. How are you feeling?
Good.
Good.
Excellent.
I am so glad. And I am so glad that you are on this broadcast with me, this live stream this afternoon, because you have such great information that so many people need to know about it. And we need to share it, especially with our culture that's sitting there. So share a little bit more about you. And then let's just get straight into the conversation.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me. I mean, it's been many years, right, Latanya? We go back quite a few years. But like Latanya said, my name is Constance Moonzwe. I believe in transforming lives through jobs. I believe in transforming lives through jobs. That is my true passion, my true calling. And I've started several staffing companies over the years. I start companies from the ground up, make sure they do over $1 million in revenue, and just kind of press repeat. And this last year, 2019, was actually a tough year, Latanya. We'll talk more about that and what sort of allowed me to pivot into what I'm doing right now. And so we can talk about the impact of COVID. Yes, not only the $7 million contract, but the $15 million worth of contracts that we have in the pipeline right now. So we can talk about all of that. So I'm looking forward to diving in with you.
All right, let's go. Let's go. I see people are filing in now. So Constance,
yes,
let me go there. Because we could be here for 2 hours, the truth be told.
Right.
You just won another $7 million contract. So kind of take a step by step on that entire process of what did you do, especially like we were talking about before. A lot of people just put the brakes on with us going through the pandemic. But what exactly did you do?
You know, gosh, I mean, this pandemic has been serious, but for those who've been following me for a long time, I use pain as a fuel.
Yeah.
Like whenever I have a high strength of pain, anxiety, I tend to work through that. That's just my coping mechanism. But just to sort of give people some context, so RSMC, which is my newest company, is pretty much brand new. We started in May of last year.
Mhm.
And quite honestly, I was just like relaxing. I had a handful of amazing clients, and life was. I was just kind of just doing the day to day, coming off of a major setback with some business partners that I went into business with, and things went horribly wrong. And so the last part of 2019 was definitely me getting myself together and just kind of figuring out what the next step were. And then COVID hit, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, all right, so this is interesting. Kids are home, both of my kids are home. I'm like, how are we going to adjust and pivot through that? And still doing business, but not being serious at all about it. And still just being honest with myself about where I was mentally. And then in April, I lost a very good friend of mine, a friend known for over 20 years. He passed away due to COVID. We actually were with him a week and a half before he passed away, so we had to self isolate. It was just a really hard time, but it was in his passing that I said, what would he have me do? And he would want me to live my best life, right? And for me, that is, let's do it again. Let's do this one more time and let's go for it. And so I go to request for proposals as my general baseline. And so to give people an example, we've got this $7 million contract literally in the last like 90 days. This is work from 90 days. This is not work from a year ago, whatever. Me and my writers have built a pipeline of over $15 million worth of contracts right now that we have in the pipeline, and it's through requests for proposals. I'm not the typical business development type of girl. I have a hard time picking up the phone and dialing. Like, Latanya, you're so much better than I am at business development. If I could clone you and just have you like lead that part of my business, I'd be probably like 10 times where I'm at today, because I don't like it. But what I do know is requests for proposals. I understand government grants, I understand city grants. And so that's where I went. And so in April, going into May, we just went ham and just went back to the skill set that we've learned. And we're not going for small contracts, Latonya. You know how I do. I mean, like we're not, the companies that we are surpassing have been at this for 20 plus years. I mean, we're doing amazing work, and I'm so proud of my team of writers who are helping me rebuild RSMC. And Latanya, between me, you, and the audience, I actually think that this is probably going to be my largest staffing company to date. I
Wow.
just think that I've learned so many lessons from starting multiple businesses over the years, that RSMC is the benefactor, like the beneficiary of all these lifelong lessons that I've learned.
So basically what you're telling us and what you're telling me and telling the audience is, I don't care what, you can keep going. You can build another company. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. Just don't stop. Stay consistent and let everything build on top of one another.
Yeah, and go through the pain, embrace it. It wasn't until literally this year, this quarter, that I said, I am going to embrace the discomfort of my last year. I am going to embrace the heartbreak, the devastation, the disappointments. I'm literally going to own it. So you grow through what you go through. And so I owned it. And then when I owned it, it was like instantly I had a blueprint of exactly what I needed to do to execute. And
Mhm.
and I hired good writers. See, so that's another part of it, is that so I have an amazing team of writers. And so but yeah, here we are, and we can talk about getting entire states now. And I can't disclose the name of the client, but I can
Right.
tell you it's that. And yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
So I'm hearing what you're saying because you said you had an amazing group of writers. And I know previously we talked about the proposals. We talked about, I see Dr. Yvette Harris is here. We talked about the bids, and she's a veteran. We talked about all those things as well. So now you're talking about as well having a group of writers or being able to write. Now, when you say that, is that for the proposal? Is it for the contract? What did you need the writers for?
Right. So in terms of writing, one of the reasons I hired two writers, I have two full-time writers, and one of the reasons that I hired them is just capacity. Not that I don't know how to write my own bits, but I don't have the capacity because we still have clients that we're servicing. So for me, it was more so of a time management issue. But what we did and what we are doing that most people who don't write, who write RFPs are not adding things like graphics. Our proposals read like storybooks. We have a lot of graphics, we have animations, we have screenshots about how our software looks like, we have raving reviews in there. It's like reading a novel. It's very different than the traditional proposals. We take a lot of time researching the entities that we're going after and literally customizing. The problem that most people who do requests for proposals make, Latanya, is that they don't customize their templates. They use the same template over and over. We literally customize our RFP templates based on the client that we're going for.
Based on the client that you're going for. And I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
I shared with people before, even writing proposals, knowing what that client needs. Because I've even had clients as well say, add in diversity, add in inclusion, because it was so necessary for them to even obtain the grant.
Right. And yeah, right.
Go ahead, Constance.
No,
Yeah.
and our proposal starts with we are women-owned, minority-owned, small business based in California if it's relevant. Sometimes it doesn't help to put the state you're based in, so you have to really make sure that you're breaking down that proposal. We also say that our focus is diversity and inclusion. Now, if the client specifically mentions that or we see it somewhere in the literature, we'll actually include our diversity and inclusion policy within the bid so they know that this is something that we're serious about. And if we need to showcase pictures, we do that as well.
And thank you for sharing that. And so those are the reasons why it's not because you don't know how to write a proposal or bid. You need the people to help fill the capacity and to go after what you need to go after. And I think that's something that a lot of us are missing. We'll write and we'll create, but we're doing 1, 2 here, and you're creating that little small template, but it has to be customized. And we have to do research. Mm-hmm.
You have to research. I mean, you have to research now we're going for large entities. So for us, it's like, what have they done before? Yeah. Like one of the things that I encourage people to do is that if this is a contract that is on renewal, so that means it's been done before, then ask them for the previous winner's bid. You can do that and they'll send it to you. So then you have a sense of what the last company did that won.
Okay. See
that. So that's another thing. And another reason I always ask for previous winners is so I can put my pricing. Like, because half of the proposal is going to be how you price yourself. So I want to look at the people and organizations that have won in the past so we know that our pricing is where it needs to be.
And it's okay to ask them, can you send me over the previous person's proposal?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're right. You have to know how to price it.
You have to know the price. And another thing that we do too is that once we get the bid and we know we want to go for it, we'll break it down to like the core requirements of it. And then we'll ask them questions prior to submitting the bid. Like questions like, for example, one of the things that has helped us is that we ask, can we submit this bid electronically? Because some bids will automatically say, mail it in. Right. But now, given what's going on with COVID and the pandemic, we automatically ask, can we actually email this to you? And oftentimes we get a yes. I mean, so it's writing those kind of questions before and submitting them in advance, so then you have a way. It does two things. One, it gives you information that is critical to you being able to win the bid.
Mhm.
But two, it gives them awareness to who you are. Like, oh yeah, they reached out to me prior. And so you already have that relationship part because you've engaged with them prior to the submission of it. So that sort of subconsciously gives you an edge as well.
Gives you an edge up. Okay, so now talk to us as African American people,
Mhm.
especially now that you have so many quote unquote white privilege trying to or looking for us to use us for work and all of those things. So talk to us as African American people what we can do. What do we need to step into to go after the big contracts? Because Constance, a lot of times I think our minds are so small sometimes, and it's just not us. But our minds could be so small to where we don't feel we can go after the millions. So talk
Mhm.
to us in regards to what we need to do, the process, the mindset to have in order to say, yeah, let me go after these contracts, the bigger contracts.
Okay, so let's start with something which is maybe not technical, then I'll go into the technical part.
Okay.
But one of the good things I love about being just Black in general is our spirituality, right? So
Hmm.
like we almost need to practice what we spiritually think,
Yeah.
right? So if you believe I am born out of it from a creator who gives me unlimited potential, you sort of kind of need to own that and believe that to be your truth. So your mindset is like so important. Like I never said, oh, I'm not going to go for this big contract because my company is less than a year old. It's those thoughts don't even occur. The question I ask is, what do I need to go? What do I need to have to go for these contracts? It's
Mhm.
never about, can I go for them? Is it too big? I mean, I put in a bid for Disney. Like I refuse to play small. So the question is, am I ready for Disney or not? No, it's more so what does Disney require of me to be ready? And so that conversation starts with me emailing the director of procurement in Disney and say, hey, Disney, I want to work for you. This is what I do. I want to be one of your vendors. What do you require a successful vendor to have? See, and that's an important question because it's not what do you require a vendor to have. Because a lot of people will apply to be vendors, but my question is, what does a successful vendor need to have? And
Yeah.
then based on that, I create a checklist and I literally go after each one of those things. So if they tell me you need to have $2 million worth of insurance, I go get $2 million of insurance. If they say you need to have done business in XYZ, now, this is really important for people to understand.
Mm.
Say if you're going for a contract, but you know how to do it because it's been your corporate job, but you don't have the business experience to do it. You then can subcontract, find friends within that industry who can give you those references. There are a lot of things, it's not so black and white, but the question is your first is your target list. Reaching out to your target list, finding out specifically what your target list is looking for, and like literally going after it as a checklist. You know, and you just repeat and you
And
just repeat. Before you know it, you have a $1 million contract, $7 million contract, 15, 20, 100 million. It's just
repeat.
play and repeat. That's it.
But Constance, hold your
Yeah.
thought because you said something that was very critical. You literally, like you said, you emailed them and say, what is it that I can do, or what do you need in order for me to be a successful vendor,
Right.
not just a
Right.
vendor? And I
No.
think Rachel, like Rachel just said, those are key words. And
Right.
not only that, it's part of customer, me, my customer
Right.
service and customer culture. But what it does as well is remembering that we are emotional creatures. They'll
Right.
never forget you because you're already
Right.
stepping out saying, how can I be successful in what I am
Right.
today? I love it. Keep going. Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, so you have that. That is so critical to find that. And I now tell you, and I don't, some people say, well, Constance, I'm just starting my business right now. Well, same thing applies. Contact your target list and say, listen, which vendors are you currently subcontracted to do X, right? Like, let's say Disney. I'm a recruiting company. I can email Disney and say, this is my services. I know you have a vendor in place. Can you give me their information? I would love to subcontract with your current vendor because I know I can add more value.
Words, the
Most
word.
companies most companies will give you who the current vendor is. And then you go to the current vendor and say, hey, listen, I just had a call or an email exchange with the director of procurement for Disney, and they gave me your information for consideration as a possible sub vendor. Now that does two things. You spoke to the client, number one. So
Mm-hmm.
they're likely to take you seriously, right?
Exactly.
Because you spoke to the client. Number two, they're likely to bring you on as a subcontractor.
Yeah.
Once that happens, then now you have the experience, you have the references, and
Yeah.
you just keep doing that over and over again.
You don't stop. You just keep going.
No,
And that's
it's
where it
very
comes from.
yeah.
So, okay, so say us as individuals, as the culture, and especially as I said previously, here it is.
Mhm.
We have the opportunity, because you have people out there just trying to find us. So,
Right,
what is the process for those people who, as you said, they just started a company?
right.
They don't even know what to do next. What would you say to them?
I think it's a great time to be Black, number one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and when we talk about white privilege, I mean, that can be so controversial, but this is what I know, money is green. And, if I'm going to leverage being a Black woman because of all this chaos that's happening, I'm going to leverage it, right? But this is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for equal rights. We're fighting for opportunities. So now the opportunities are here. And this is what I'm trying. That's my point, is that we've been fighting for equal rights and opportunities. I literally posted on my Facebook yesterday that I feel like we should all be visible on LinkedIn. There's so many people of color who won't even put the pictures up on LinkedIn because they are afraid of not being called for a job because of the color of the skin. This happens. I've seen it happen
Yep.
all the time. I literally posted on this. Be like visible, show up, be
Yeah.
visible right now. This is the time to do it. Because whether it's a sympathy play,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're giving me business because you feel bad
Yeah.
because you've been living in a world of white privilege, that's okay. I mean, I'll
We'll,
take it.
we'll take it.
Like I mean, hey, if that's how you want to, like, literally take to make amends, that's fine. Who am I to say how you should make amends? But what I can say is that I'll be prepared to do business. And so part of the second point, Latanya, is preparation. Be very clear on what you're in the market for. Oftentimes with our people, it's mixed messages. I don't
Yeah.
understand what you do. What do you do? Like, if I look at your
Mhm.
LinkedIn profile and I don't know what you do, your clients or your future clients are not going to know what you do. So you have to be very, very clear on LinkedIn and connect with a lot of people. I don't nearly have as many connections as I want on LinkedIn, but I have over 9,000, which is good. And the very specific 9,000s, I've
Right.
targeted them. So for me on LinkedIn, I'm connected with a lot of diversity and inclusion executives.
Yeah.
I connect with a lot of CFOs, healthcare executives. These are the people I'm connected with on LinkedIn because these are the people I want to do business with. And it's important to connect with the diversity and inclusion leaders in these organizations because guess what? That title means
It,
something,
it means
and they're
something.
looking for vendors. Right. Yeah.
Just like I was sharing with you previously, I have another friend of mine who had just posted on LinkedIn last week saying,
Right.
we're looking for a reputable company that instructs on diversity and inclusion. I
Right,
mean, they're looking for people.
right.
And so just like you were saying, we have to be prepared and ready. Because when it already starts from you have to have your business. You have to, whether you're your LLC, whether you're a corporate, whether you're what we talked about, S corp, C corp, whatever it is, and then going out and getting your different insurances, and all of those things. Just being prepared when it's time, so you don't have to go chasing after it and getting it. You're like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? But getting insurance is easy. That's the
It's
easy
so
part.
easy. And the easiest part for getting business insurance, people, is call your car insurance company.
Just it.
Call your car insurance company and say, look, I need a general liability for my business. It will cost you like 500 and something dollars for the first year.
That's all it is.
Not that hard. And they'll break that down into payments if you need it to be broken down into payments. I mean, so that's easy.
That's
Get
it.
your business license. That will cost you $58 in most counties. You just literally, now because of COVID, you can literally get your business license online. So
You
get
can do
that. So you
everything online.
everything is online. Get incorporated. But my biggest tip, like Tanya, you know me, I say this all the time.
Come on.
Please, people, let's not use dot gmail at gmail.com. Like
Don't
that
do it.
is the
Don't do it.
most, it's so basic. It's so basic.
It's so,
But I'm
don't do it.
telling you, it is a deal breaker. Like if I see you send me an email and you're a business person and you're like da 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 at Gmail, I'm like, you're not serious. You're not
Are you
ready.
serious? And that's only $4.99 or $5. You can get that. I mean, it's easy. So you're right. It's like you're not serious if you're using Gmail. I'm gonna
I'm
pass
sorry.
you
Like
over.
I hate to be that blunt, but guess what? We've been fighting for this time. We've
Yeah,
been fighting for doors to open. Now doors are opening for us. We need to be ready. We need to be ready, and we can't. Like you can. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. If you're going to have a Google phone number, that's great, but have a
right.
professional business
Hmm.
message recorded on
Right.
your Google phone number. It's not expensive, Latanya, to start a business right now. It's cheaper than ever
It's
before
cheap.
to start
It's
a
cheap.
business.
And like you were saying, even breaking down, I use his cop. I forget, I can't
Yeah,
pronounce it, but I use that for my liability insurance,
right.
and they break it down. And so I guess for us, we're trying to get people in the state of understanding. And I know Dr. Harris said, yeah, so you're be prepared so you can bid. You want to have your stuff in order so you can go for it, but it's not expensive, you guys. And we want people to know that. So you'll have that out of the way. So now you can focus in on going after the bid. And as you said, Constance, this is our time. And we have to not
Yeah,
be afraid. We have to not be fearful. Even like I think Ramona is here. They have um a t-shirt business. Talk
right.
about that, Constance.
Oh
Can
my
a
goodness.
person with a
Yeah,
t-shirt business go after
right.
contracts?
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, there are bids for everything, including t-shirt businesses. There are bids for that. Like, I know, Latanya, I should have done it. I should have done this on my laptop because it would have been great to do a screen share to see how many bids are out there. But there are so many bids. Whether you are in janitorial services, the bids out there. If you are making t-shirts, but you can make uniforms, there are bids out there. There are tons of bids for consultants. Oh my goodness, like
It's
all of
huge.
our consultants who um, got hit because of the tons of opportunities for consultants right now, executive coaches, tons. There are, and for the list, I'll be sharing the
At
actual
the
list
list
and
tour.
telling
Yeah.
people, right, and telling people which websites I use to
Wow.
mine my bids. So it's important to have a bid mining website. So let me just say this. So when I talk about how I get my proposals, we subscribe to several different platforms, and that's where we mine our bids from. And I'll be sharing more about that in our upcoming conference. But
Yeah.
yeah, the bids for everything. I even saw a bid for what was it? They wanted somebody to be a mentor for little kids. That was all the bids. They just wanted somebody to be a mentor for kids in after school programs, literally on Zoom every afternoon. And that bid max was $60,000. So they were willing to pay $60,000 for somebody to engage a room of kids 3 hours a day. There's serious money out there, Latanya. I'm not even, I mean, it's
and, and,
ridiculous.
and you are telling the truth, because even before COVID hit, Constance, I had to go into Walgreens to their warehouse and
Mhm,
do a training. And the crazy
mhm.
part about it is, it's like, okay, I mean, seriously, you guys, they were asking me, what else can you teach on? I literally at that very moment could have said, okay, I can talk about kids. I can talk about anything, because they just want you. They're trying to figure out what else can we discuss, but we have to be prepared and you have to be ready. And so, okay, I almost want to go there, but I guess I'll leave that for another day. But you have to be ready. Even when we're
Yeah,
talking about consultants, know your stuff, because you want them to
glorious
call you
stuff.
back. Constance, talk about that a little bit. You want them to call you back. You want to be like, oh my God, I have to have them. Share some light on that, Constance.
You have to be professional.
Professional.
And so let's talk about executive coaches, right? Because we have a lot of executive coaches who tune into you. So let me just speak to my executive coaches for a
Yeah.
second. Your message has to be clear. Like, so if you're an executive coach, what aspect are you coaching on? You can't just say you're just for the whole life. No, what are you going to help that coach with? Is it going to be mentor bears? Is it going to be organizations? It's what are you, is it his ability or she's ability to get along with their team? Like, what
Right.
is your area of expertise? And be very clear about that and make that consistent through your branding, because that's what separates you.
Yes.
Now, if you just submit a proposal and say you're executive coach, well, where's your mastery? Because once you can showcase your mastery to say, hey, I'm an executive coach that specializes with, helping leaders achieve better whatever KPIs with their team, whatever
Exactly.
the mission is. Be very clear about that. Make that consistent in your brand. Make it consistent on your online platforms.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, too many of us would just say executive coach. That word is diluted. So
There.
many
Yeah.
people are using executive coaching. Like, so what is your specialty? Like for me, I'm an executive coach when it comes to talent acquisition. It's very
Right.
specific, but even that can even get more
Right.
granular. You can say even career coach, what aspects? So there, I just feel like the messaging around executive coaches, because there's so many of us
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
has to be very granular. It has to be very clear. However, the
Yeah.
good news is when you nail your sort of and you're clear on what your executive coach brand is, I've seen requests for proposals that are willing to pay executive coaches anywhere between $500 to $1,000 an hour, and they're
Mm-hmm.
willing to sign a 3-year contract with you. So it helps to take the time to be prepared
Yeah.
up front. So then you're in position and know when to get help, right?
Yeah.
And know when to get help. If you're not the best writer, maybe find a way to partner with a writer who's pretty good and can help you flush that out. But
Yeah.
speaking of writers, let me just give this tip.
Mm-hmm.
um, why my writers have been so successful is
Mm-hmm.
because number one, I've hired a bunch of terrible writers in the past, so I've learned. But number two, but number, oh my gosh. Um,
I already know.
you-
I get it. I get it.
so remember how I always said, Latanya, this is an ongoing thing between you and I. Is like, in order to grow, you have to eliminate.
Exactly.
You have to really eliminate, right?
It's
Um,
real.
so one of the things that I ask writers is for references.
Yeah.
Like, give me bits that you've been successful at in the past. Like,
Yeah.
don't just tell me you're a writer. So for me, I hired two writers that have a 90% batting average.
Wow.
That means 90% of their contracts that they write, they land.
Ah, see, there it is.
So it's also in your screening. It's
Yeah.
also who you're hiring to help you
Mm-hmm.
accomplish your goals. But if you can't afford a writer right now, that's fine too. Just be well researched in the area that you want to provide expertise from, and then take
Mhm.
advantage of all the resources out there that can help you proofread through your stuff to make sure that there aren't any grammatical errors when you're sending out these bids as well, because that will ding them as well.
Yeah,
And
that
you
would
have to make
be.
sure you, yeah.
And so at the end of the day, that's how you get to your millions. You just have to, first of all, you guys, we have to be prepared. We have to make sure that the business is intact. We have to have our license. We have to have our insurances. And you can always, they'll let you know in the contract when you, like for me, it could be purchasing department. They'll let you know what is required of you. And then you just go out and get what you need to get. If you
Just
need to
create,
increase it or whatever
right.
it is, it's simple. And then
It's
you start
simple.
going through the process of the procurements and the bids and all of that, and just stay consistent and go for. That's how you get to your millions.
That's how you get to it. And then you know what? Just like anything, you get your one win.
Yeah,
Winning is addictive. That's why it's important to
I
get your
already
win.
know. I already.
Winning
Yep.
is addictive because then you say, yes, I did
Yeah.
it. We were fortunate that our first major contract back doing this was $7 million. I mean, so I mean that was a good win, but that's
Yeah.
given us the motivation and the knowingness that okay, we probably know what we're doing. I mean, so
Yeah.
that's been fantastic. But I I want to encourage people that with preparation, all things are possible.
Yeah.
And not only that, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look at your competitors. How are your competitors positioning themselves? What are they doing? How are they branding themselves? And just mirror it. Just mirror what is working. I mean,
Okay, Constance. Okay, I know our time is about to run out, but I'm glad you said that and you talked about competitors because some people say, "Oh, don't pay attention to your competitors." I'm sorry, y'all. You better pay attention. This is me. I pay attention because especially when they've been in the game for a minute,
right,
that's how I'm able to gauge on
right,
who I can go after and how they're operating. And that's how I operate. For people that say, don't look at you, I'm sorry, I do. That truth be told, that's part of SWAT.
right.
And so I think it's so necessary to do that. And I do it. I do it for
I
sure.
mean, I think it's really important, especially if you're going into your pivoting, right? So
Yeah.
for the person who's pivoting and you're thinking like, okay, well, maybe I've been in this space, I've been making t-shirts, but then I
Yeah.
want to start to make uniforms.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of have to have a baseline of what uniforms are trending in order to know what direction you should go to. You have to have a baseline of which clients are actually using vendors and outsourcing their uniforms, right? Like, so you do have to do some like foundational research, and looking at your competition is very much a part of that. But you can also do it, Latanya, by calling your potential targets and say, who are you using right now? And then going to that person, like let's just say with Ramona. So I don't, if there are any other businesses that people want to give examples for, I can walk you
Right.
through a scenario. But let's just say t-shirt business, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say Ramona, she
My
is
husband.
designing
Mhm.
and developing t-shirts, amazing t-shirts, but she has a vision for her business to go national. So where should Ramona start? Well, Ramona should start by having a targeted list of companies that she would love to work for. So let's just say Coca-Cola. She wants to be one of the vendors who supplies uniforms to Coca-Cola. Where does she start? First, she starts by identifying which vendors are currently doing business with Coca-Cola. But not only vendors that have who are doing business with Coca-Cola now, but the ones who have done it with them in the past. And then you reach out to them and say, hey, can I send you a sample? Now, before you send that sample, Ms. Marona, look at the t-shirts that they're actually creating and mirror the same exact t-shirt and send it to them. Don't just send them your t-shirt, send
What
them
they want.
their t-shirt with your branding on it.
Just
Hopefully that
like
was
that.
helpful to Ms. Ramona.
That helped a whole lot of folk. That helped a whole lot of us. in regards to all of that. And this is some good stuff, Constance. I'm sorry, but I know one thing for sure: we'll have you at
Right.
the list tour, and we're going to be breaking a whole lot of this stuff down, because
Right.
I think it's so necessary. And for me, Constance, and then we're going to end this. My thing is, it's the mindset. It's the
Right.
realizing that you can have more. I
Hmm.
think, as you said, in the past, because we deal with so much trauma, and we deal with so much, not necessarily disaster. Some people it's disaster.
Right.
Some people it's failures, that we say,
Right.
okay, I'll just start here. Okay, and this is
Yeah.
as far as I, and you had to get on me in regards to some things myself and say, you thinking too
Hmm.
small. And I had to say,
Hmm.
ouch, and take that hit and keep moving,
Right.
because sometimes I would feel like I'm alone, or I can do this on my own. But it's the mindset. It's like, you got to stop thinking like that in order to go even.
You can't, honestly, who is limiting you? Like who's the limiting
Yourself.
factor?
Yep.
It's
Self.
yourself. Like who
Exactly.
says you can't work for Google? Like who says? Is there a book out there that says I can't work for Google? Like
That's
who
real.
says that? If there aren't any limits. We are limited by what's in our minds. Like I guarantee you, if I had the minds, if I wanted to work for Google, it's just a matter of time. If I thought there was strategic
Real
alignment, it's
talk.
just a matter of time. Right. And also, to people say, but Constance, it takes money to make money. Absolutely. And this is why you have to position yourself and make sure that your business and paperwork is in order so you can go for that money to be able to hire the writers to be. Oh, but in the meantime, start to get on the phone and start to network and start to
Got to do it.
ask for the business. And then, one of the most important things, Latanya, and I know we can be here for a long time, but one of the things that I've done for years is to do a mind map, right? A
Mm.
mind map is basically, this is where I am right now,
Yeah.
right? My business is making, let's just say hypothetically, $100,000. This is
Yeah.
today. I really, if I was to close my eyes and envision the best thing for my business, I want to grow it to a $2 million company, let's just say in 5 years. What
Hmm.
a mind map does is allows you to plan out all the different steps that you need to do over the next 5 years to get to 2 million. Now, why is this important? Even if you don't know the answer, the very fact that you're asking your subconscious mind, the answer will come to
Hmm.
you. This is
Hmm.
why I don't say I want a contract with Disney. My question is, what do I need to do to get a
Get that
contract with Disney?
contract.
What do I need to do to have a $2 million company? What do I need to do to have $100 million company? And every thought that occurs in my mind of what to do, I write it down and I put it on a plan. That's how it works. Like Latanya, I didn't take ITH from 0 million to over three something million in 12 months by just
Right.
wishing upon a star. I sort of said, what do I need to do from A to Z? It's the same thing right now. It's not that I said, hey, Constance, you're going to build a $15 million pipeline of business
Yeah.
in 90 days. The question is, what do I need to do to build a $15 million pipeline in 90 days? And then I start a checklist. All right.
The strategy. You can't do anything without being strategic and planning it through.
Right.
It doesn't just, and like you said, it doesn't happen overnight. We have to do the work. And I think a lot of times we falter because we don't want to, we'll stumble, we come to an obstacle, and then we don't want to go any further. And I think Sonia said, okay, is that, she said holistic wellness coach,
Holistic
a holistic
wellness
wellness coach.
coach.
I think that must be
What
for
what
you.
is what part of holistic? Can you help me out with what part of holistic we're talking about? Like who her target audience?
Who's
Who
the
is she
target?
trying to go after? Who is she trying to go? And can she define holistic for me? Like what I need to do to accomplish it?
Okay. So what do I need to
Okay.
accomplish? X, Y, and Z. Okay. I think we
Okay.
th- go ahead, Constance. I think we shared that at the top.
Right, right. So we shared that at the top, so go back and listen to it. But basically, you have your end user. So for you, there are two opportunities there. You're going to have some business to business opportunities. So B2B and B2C. So you have to have a list on both sides. You have to have a list on both sides. So who are the B2B clients that you can go for, and who are the B2C clients that you can go for, and start there, and then join us at the list, and we can break it down some more.
Right. I know Sonia will be at the list tour. I know she will.
Yeah.
Right. So if you guys don't know what B2B is, it's business to business, and B2C is business to customer. So you have to break them down. And that's where you kind of have to know where to go in order to know who to go after. And then you have to do the research and know who it is you know you're looking to deal with. I think that's okay. She said I was requesting. Let me see. Wait a minute. What did she say? I was repeating what she said. Oh, she was repeating what she said. Thank you. Thank you. Mom's mental, emotional, physical, etc. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Sonia. Okay,
and she has a great audience there. I mean, like with moms, so you have to be very clear. And I'll say this, like as we conclude, the best way to start, especially in B2C businesses, and even B2B, is identify the pain and speak to the pain. So this is how you start. Like, do you feel that you are having to take a good stats for Sonia to have is that I read recently that the pharmaceutical companies are running low of anti-anxiety medication and antidepressant drugs. Like there's an increase of at least 40% of people who are on these substances. So the pain is, do you feel that you're having to take more anxiety medicine? Like, how are you feeling about that? So you got to get into the pain, we can flush it out a bit later, but you have to identify the pain and address that pain in your messaging.
There it is. Okay. And I mean, it can happen, you guys. And that's why I love breaking stuff down, because a lot of times people don't understand what it is. But the more and more we talk, and Constance, and I truly believe you have to be around the right people. You have to be around people that will make you and challenge. And let me say to y'all, you have to be around people that will challenge you and make you go higher. If you don't, you will be in the same spot next year. You have to. I mean, seriously. And I mean, people who have we talked about this, Constance, people who have accomplished the goal. You have to be around them, and it's so vital to the growth of not only your organization but your business or your department, whatever it is. Okay, somebody asked the question. Can you see that? She also used the term KPI. Is this for key performance indicators? Yes, ma'am. That's what it is.
Yeah. And it's important, you guys, even if it's your husband working for free, he needs to have KPIs. Your volunteers need to have KPIs. Anybody who's helping you within your business, husband, wife, kids, like for example, Miss Emma, my daughter, is trying to help me on social media. Well, she has KPIs, key performance indicators, meaning that she has to be able to develop 4 pieces of good content every day. That's a KPI. And if she doesn't develop 4 pieces of good content every day, well, guess what? Mommy's going to sit down and we're going to have a talk about why you're not developing 4 pieces of content every day. Right. So that's a KPI. But we do, and guess what? KPIs for yourself. Right. So if your goal is I have to have 50 quality leads a day, well, that's your key performance indicator, and you need to, and good quality contacts. So, LaTanya, I know we can go on and on, but this is the thing. We don't hold ourselves accountable. We want others to hold us accountable, but you're breaking promises to yourselves, and that's the first mistake. And I know this because I've spent the last 12 months breaking promises to myself. So I know this very clear. The first thing is that we have to honor our commitments that we make to ourselves. So if you say you're going to make 10 business development calls tomorrow, then do it. Now, I hired writers because I hate making business development calls. So I found a workaround.
Exactly. No, you're right.
But then now the KPI is that we have to go for 10 quality contracts a week, right? So the same KPI, just a different strategy, because I got tired of hitting myself over the head doing stuff that I was not good at. It is
Real talk.
depressing. And like, I understand working better at something you're weak at. I understand that mindset. Like, hey, work on this because you're not very good at it. I get that.
Mm.
But you know what? Sometimes I need some small wins, right? And so I'm going to
Hello.
change. Listen, I got to pat myself on the back sometimes, Latanya. And nobody would do that for me. So you have to make sure you get in yourself small wins so
Yeah.
you don't quit,
Yeah.
And so find the small wins that you can plug into your strategy and go
Yeah.
for that. Keep your promises to yourselves, hold yourself accountable. And guess what? If they haven't done it, they can't advise you on it. Too many
Big
of us
win.
are listening to entrepreneurs who've never started a business. You look, I don't give people advice on how to write a profitable book because I haven't yet wrote a profitable book. So I don't know
Me
what it
either.
means to write a book that makes money. I haven't done it. So I don't talk about writing books. I'll read them.
And that's
I'll
real
read them
talk.
for you and I'll talk to you about what the book says. But I'm yet to write a profitable book. So I don't talk
Exactly.
about it. It's the same thing for our audience. Know where you're getting your advice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and honestly, I don't mean to jab on coaches, but I've also spent a lot of money on coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And also be careful there. Make sure if you're going to hire a business coach that they've actually done what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I hired a very expensive business coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Latanya, you know
I
the
know it.
story.
Yep.
A very
Yeah.
expensive business coach. And I made the classic mistake. They had never built a recruitment firm.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So it didn't
Wow.
work out.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there aren't coaches that can transfer. That's not my
Yeah.
point. So please don't misunderstand me. But for somebody who's just starting out, these decisions are super important to make. It's super important to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, that you're hiring the right coaches, that you're investing the time in your learnings and you're branding yourself properly.
And there you have it, you guys. And so, I mean, some key information was given out on this afternoon. And you already
Right,
know you can always go back and listen to this again over and over and over again because they're so
right,
necessary, from the KPIs to the strategy to the planning to making sure that you have everything in order when you're going after the contracts for the
right,
bids. Everything's here. And we're going to be dealing
right,
more with it at the at Tilt, the leadership I mean, y'all, I'm telling y'all, the way it's set up this year, it's going to be simply it's always amazing, but the way
right,
it's going to be set up this year is super duper amazing because they get the opportunity to go into the hubs. We're going into the different hubs, the different classrooms. We're a little bit
right.
even more intimate, and so I'm excited about it all. And so, Constance, give us your final words for this afternoon. Such great information, but give us your final words before we are before we're over, before we sign out of night school.
Um, One is have a mind map. If you don't have that, you have to know what your destination is, where you're
Yeah.
going, and let it be big. It has to be something scares you. If you feel like it's too easy for you to achieve it, it's not a goal. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not a goal. It has to be something that scares you. Then map it up, create a checklist for success, and make
Yeah.
sure that you're working on at least one of those things a day to achieve your goals. So a map. So if your goal is 2 million, you don't need to know how to get to 2 million now. Just start the mind map and write down anything that comes to mind and then check it off. To find people who have done it before and get a mentor. If you can't find a coach or you can't afford a coach, then get a mentor or somebody who's done it before. Study your competition, and most importantly, Latanya, ask for the business.
Ask for the business and then okay, I had something else to say, but I'm gonna leave that alone until Tilt 2020. I'm
And
gonna leave it alone.
most importantly, go for government contracts. I really want folks to, and government people. I'm not just talking about federal government. I'm talking
Yeah.
about cities, school districts. Talking about large organizations, and all of that. And yes, if you can't afford to be certified as a woman-owned, minority-owned, you can self-certify. I haven't done the paperwork for RSMC to be certified small business minority, but I self-certify. A lot of
And you,
people don't realize that you can self-certify.
and I'm glad you said that, because I don't know if Dr. Harris is still here, but we did the last night school I did with her. She talked about you can self-certify, you guys. We
Yeah,
can self-certify. And it's not that it's not difficult, but we got to do the work. You have to do the
it'll
work.
work.
And you do need the KPIs. You have to be able to have the small wins, and you got to be able to position yourself, and you got to be very strategic on what you're going after. I am so okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
And
Okay.
don't forget those LinkedIn profiles with recommendations. Latanya, I know we're out of time, but this is another thing.
Yeah.
If you look at my LinkedIn profile, I have about 8 or 9 recommendations around there.
Hmm.
Those are so important. You guys, LinkedIn is
Recommendations.
like the new background check. Be sure that your potential clients are going to be looking you up on LinkedIn. So make
Okay.
sure that your LinkedIn profile is important and ask for recommendations. If you say, well, Constance, I don't know who to ask, well, everybody in this room,
We do
if
it
we
all
have
the
a
time.
relationship with you,
Exactly.
anyway, that's enough for now, Latanya.
This was some good stuff. Good stuff. I know they said somebody left another comment, but this is great because it's so necessary. Because the mindset has, I don't care what industry you guys are
Right.
in, there are contracts out there for you, and we're gonna keep talking
Everything.
about this. I know I'm gonna be talking about this again. Because once, as you said, Constance, it becomes almost contagious. Once you have a contract, it's like, oh, snap, this
Oh,
is
you're
all I'm
like
going after.
yeah, you have like a little pep in your walk, your hair is doing something different. I mean, it just changes everything. Like when you have that big win, it changes everything. And it's so
Changes.
important to get that win so I want to see more of us go up after contracts. Like that's a huge mission for me this year. I
Yeah,
want to see more of us have major government contracts and really looking to tilt to be the launching pad for that
that's it.
initiative. So,
That's it.
yeah,
And so you guys make sure you're there, because we're going for broke. We're literally going for broke, because once you get a taste of it, you don't even want to go back. You don't want to go back. I'm telling you all, you do not want to go backwards.
right,
But you got to get a taste of it. And so hang
right,
around, stay around, ask questions, do what you need to
right,
do. If you don't know, ask, because there are a lot of us
right,
around here. Constance has done it. I mean, we've done things in our different areas and our different fields. Ask
right,
the question, and don't be no. There's
right,
never a question that's dumb. You know,
right,
I
right.
ask dumb questions all the time.
I ask them every day. I'm asking a dumb question. It seems.
I know. I know. Okay. So thank you so much, Constance, for being
Okay,
here this afternoon. We can go on and on and on, but
I
I
know.
need you all go get your tickets for Tilt. I mean, it's there at the list tour. You don't want to delay. You want to get it. It's not, they're not expensive. The tickets are only $49. And for what you're going to get is going to be simply amazing. We have some amazing instructors. Constance will be there. She's going to break it down. We're having hubs. And so I'm excited. But once again, Constance, thank you so much for giving of your
Yeah,
time and your
yeah,
talents with us this afternoon. Thank you to all of you all that were a part of this here call. We appreciate, we love the comments. We love the questions. To all of you guys, know this, you are so special to us, and we appreciate you so, so very much. Don't ever think that you're less than, or people are doing better than you, because they're not. It's just that
right.
you may not have, it's a mindset. And you have to
It's a
know
mindset.
you can win. You can
Yes, you
win
can.
each
Yes,
and
you
every
can.
time.
Yes.
Hang around the best. Hang around people that challenge you. And that's
Yeah.
all I'm going to say this afternoon. So thank you guys so much for being here at Night School. We're going to be back here again next Monday and the Monday after that. And I'm excited, you guys. So once again, we appreciate you, and go out. do your thing. Do what you need to do for you to make your
Yeah.
business grow and take it to the
Yes,
next level. Until next week, thank you,
definitely.
Constance.
Bye.